What is up, FA fam? Welcome on in to Alarm Fantasy Football. And boy, do we have a good one for you today. Typically, we do waivers on Tuesday, trades on Wednesday, questions, starts at questions on Thursday. We're going to answer all your questions tomorrow. But Howard Bender has been deep in the DFS lab, tinkering around with the prices, with everything. So we're going to start this one off with a quick drafters weekly draft, and then we're going to jump right in to DFS scoring for week one. It's going to be a good one here, Bender. Are you ready?
I am 100% ready. You should pull this drafters board up so that everybody can see it. Reminder to everybody out there, if you haven't signed up over on drafters yet, these are some killer. These are just a fun 8-round, 5-person, contest here, but it's actually there's a 2,500 person limit. So you're in a 5-person draft, and then that's how you're building your team based off of NFL Week 1, based off of daily fantasy football, everything like that. So we're going to jump in on this one here. If you haven't signed up over at Drafters yet, do yourselves a favor. Go over to fantasyalarm.com/draftersbb and use the promo code ALARM at sign up. They'll give you a match deposit on your first $100, which is fantastic. This contest that we're doing right now is $11 entry, but even more importantly, their main event, which is a $20 entry, all right, is still about 30,000 people short of where they wanted to. So still massive overlay for you here that you can join in. So QR code is right there at the top of the screen there on the left-hand side. You can zap that or go to fantasyalarm.com/draftersbb. So Coop, I mean, let's just kind of jump into it right now. I took Jamar Chase. He's the cover of the DFS watch list this week. Why wouldn't he be? And I'm rip roaring ready to go, man. How are you doing?
I'm doing good, man. I'm going to grab Mr. BTJ here as my next pick. I'm doing a little gamesmanship here. With so many running backs off the board, I think we can maybe wait a little bit on running back, because I think these teams that loaded up a running back early might settle down a little bit and see if we can get a discount there. So going with BTJ. You went with Chase and Burrow stack. Are you going for the triple up?
No, I don't feel the need to go with the triple up here. I'm definitely gonna I'm gonna pick up some guys who I have in the DFS watch list for a variety of reasons. I mean, obviously Cincinnati, Cleveland, the over under in that game is 47.5. We're expecting significant points. We know that Joe Flacco likes to sling the rock. We know that Cincinnati's defense is terrible. So I'm not saying that Cleveland's going to keep this one close, because I think that there's just too much firepower on the Bengals side of things. But we do remember that Cincinnati definitely struggled last year trying to find their identity and stuff like that. So maybe this one does turn into a little bit of a shootout. Then I follow that pairing up there with Chuba Hubbard, who going up against the Jacksonville Jaguars. They've got all this great talent on the defensive line. Yet they had all this great talent on the defensive line last year, still gave up the 8th most rushing yards per game. And so, you know how I love Chuba Hubbard. You know how I love the volume that he gets. So I felt the need to just lock that down.
Chuba. Let's go. And again, with this, it's not just us versus this league here, like this little contained draft. There's some incentive to get unique a little bit here. It's us going in. We're drafting among the 5 of us, but then we're going up against 2,500 people. So, you know what? I'm going to go with the wild card here. Ashton Genty. I know New England, the defensive line is, it's going to be better this year than it was last year. They got, obviously they got Milton Williams. They have Christian Barmore coming back, but I don't know. It takes a little while to get a little cohesive unit going. We don't know what Robert Spillane's going to look like, and we don't know what Genty's going to look like. This guy might just be magic. I mean, he was untackleable in college. So in something like this, I'm willing to say, hey, you know what? What if this guy is just special, right? Let's give it a shot.
Let's give it a little whirl. You know what? I'm going to take Kenneth Walker here also. I've just been in on him throughout the entire preseason, so I'm digging on him for sure. And then, you know what? You've got 2 running backs there. I've got 2 running backs there. I'm still going to kind of look towards the running back position here for my flex spot. I'm going to put him to the test here, Coop. I'm going to put Josh McDaniels and Trevion Henderson to the test. We see him lining them up throughout the preseason as a receiver, as a pass catching running back, as an actual running back. So I figure let's give it a go.
You know what, dude? This is the place to do it, right? It's like you're building something with upside, and you want it to be a little different than what other people are doing. So you've got the Burrow Chase stack. There's going to be a lot of people that have Burrow and Chase. So why not go and mix a rookie in there? A rookie that has, a 100-yard kick return this offseason, a 70-yard play against the Commanders in the team drills there. I mean, he could just be incredible. You never know.
It could
I'm
just
gonna
be
go out
incredible.
and I'm gonna go Jaden Daniels here.
Okay.
Let's go with a little mobility.
Listen, I love that, but unfortunately for you, I was already planning on this double move here, a little double wiggle right there, huh? And get a little instant correlation here. Let's go Malik Neighbors and where is Terry McLaurin? There he is. Okay.
That's fine with me because
I
I'm
was
just
like,
gonna
wait, did he disappear? Where'd he go?
I feel like this player here is being slept on in general, so I'm going Drake London. With Jaden Daniels, it would have been. I probably would have taken McLaurin there for the stack, but he's got the mobility, right? He can run for 2 touchdowns. He could throw touchdowns to Zach Ertz and Debo or wherever. So I'll be fine with that.
Oh, that dude took David Njoku. There goes my correlation for Cincinnati right there. There goes my correlation. I was all set to take David Njoku as my tight end. Boy, that dude just really jammed me up, didn't he? God damn it.
Bad beat, right? Because he took him as the you don't expect him to go tight end too. You don't expect it to go down like that. So I'll just go ahead and take Mark Andrews here. The guy who took Kittle, I mean, interesting draft here. Yeah, the guy that started with the 3 running backs there in the spot really smoked you by taking Njoku there. He had no reason to do that.
I don't know
why.
Reason to do that. So
I guess he has T. Higgins, so maybe he's thinking the same thing.
Man, I can't get the correlation here for that for that, any of my guys. So I will just take a guy that you and I riding and dying with here, and that is Evan Engram. Right? Let's put that Joker role into play here for sure.
So there it is. Under that took what 8 minutes for us to do. I mean, these things go quick. This is a week 1 contest. That's the thing is these are dangerous. John and Pemba warned us. He was like, these are addicting. So I don't know. I'm definitely gonna be doing a few of these. And yesterday, I just didn't know what I was doing. Today, I felt so much better. Once I get a few of these under my belt, I'm gonna really get into some weird builds. I think. So I went Christian McCaffrey, Ashton Genty as my 2 running backs, Brian Thomas, Nico Collins, and Drake London as my 3 wide receivers. I mean, good Lord. And then my flex is Alvin Kamara. Still got quarterback Jaden Daniels and Mark Andrews. I mean, it's hard to make a bad lineup in this. How you feel about yours, Bender?
Dude, I love mine. Come on. I mean, aside from the fact that the dude screwed me out of David Njoku and getting some correlation there on my tight end. Joe Burrow, right? Chuba Hubbard and Kenneth Walker. Those are definite Howard Bender guys, right? I mean, that's boom. And now Jamar Chase, Malik Neighbors, and Terry McLaurin as my wide receivers. Splashing a little Trevion Henderson flex, Evan Engram as my tight end. Dude, I love this. I love this build. Yeah. I loved having the first pick. Thank you very much to our good friends at Drafters. And let me just cover up my handsome mug here. You see me? That's the QR code to Zap. Jump in on this one while you can. Drafters. It's a Drafters BB, fantasyalarm.com/Drafters BB. Zap that QR code. And you know what? I think I kind of have a feeling, Coop. I don't know about you, but I might want to do another one of these on tomorrow's alarm.
We have to. They're so quick, dude. They're so quick and they're great. And you know what I'm gonna do tomorrow? I think tomorrow is where I'm gonna do my Bizarro World one, where I take a bunch of the guys I'm not really drafting. Like I want to grab like a Marion.
I love those drafts.
Xavier Worthy, right? Just so like if all the guys I've been fading go off week 1, well, maybe I'll win $4,000 over here. So I think that's what I'm gonna do tomorrow. Sorry, let's get into some DFS chatter. First, just want to say what's up to the chat. A lot of the regulars in the house. Jerry, what's happening? Colby Conway. If you're looking for the wide receiver DFS article, Colby's going to be all over that this week. My tight end article comes out tomorrow. Bender's already got the watch list out. If you saw my tweet, apologize, I misspoke. The full playbook will be out towards the end of the week. The watch list is out now, and he tinkers with that. And then eventually, when we lock it down, that becomes the playbook. So keep an eye on for that. On Coop in the house. What's happening? Her and Lainey are in the other room. She's helping me out today, keeping an eye on Ladybug during
Nice.
hey, Ladybug, almost nap time. 15 minutes. Okay. From Uncle Howard, and then it's bed, and then it's nap time.
Right.
Right. Easy pick with Nico there. And Drake London, dude, for a discount. I know, Chuck, you're a Tampa Bay fan, but even you would take Drake London there. So what up, Greg? What up, Jack Straw? We got the gang all here, but we got to get into DFS, man. Howard, can you give us, because I know you've been digging into this since prices came out in like July. You've been kind of looking at it, but you obviously are waiting, you wanted to wait until things settled. What's your overall feeling on the slate? Like some years there's like chalk plays that you have to go with. Some years it's like I'm just going up in week one. And then sometimes it's like, there's enough medium range discounts that you don't even have to pay down. You can just find value. So like, how are you feeling about the week one slate just based on what you've seen so far?
I feel pretty good about it. I mean, everybody's going to go through and here, the process for the watch list. I mean, week one is always a little bit more difficult because you're still settling into the coaching movement. You can look at the data all you want from last year, but when you start, breaking it down, you're like, oh, okay. So this team was really bad against the tight end last year. Does that translate to this year as well? Oh, wait. They changed defensive coordinators. Oh, they just added these two guys to their linebacking core. Oh, they just signed this safety. So, you have to kind of dive in. You can take a lot of the work that you saw last year. Like I just said this in the drafters contest, right? I just said this about, talking about Jacksonville, right? Fantastic defensive line. Had the same guys last year. Right now, granted, it's Liam Cohen's regime right now. And so how are they going to be against the run? I'm willing to take that shot with Chuba Hubbard because I know he's got the volume out of that backfield. But like that's the stuff that you have to dive into. 8th most rushing yards allowed per game last year. What is their scheme that they're looking at this year? And how is that going to affect it? So week one, looking at the data from last year, you can definitely focus on the teams that have kind of stayed put. Right. And teams that have gone from year to year. But, you do have to kind of, make some adjustments. So what does everybody do? Like you always have to take into account, and we have the ownership projections over at fantasyalarm.com, and they'll be updated here throughout the week. But, there are certain things that you can take from preseason, season-long draft season and best ball draft season and kind of correlate that into week one. That for cash game play, right? Emeka Egbuka, Bill Krosky-Merritt, Ricky Pearsall, these Trevion Henderson, these names that have been popping and you've seen their ADP climb up, that they're going to be, very widely owned throughout, a lot of the contests. So what you need to do is you need to study those matchups and take a look and say, is this, that you're going to be great for cash because it doesn't matter what they do. If 40% of the field owns them, well, it doesn't matter if they're good or bad.
It's a wash, right?
Based with, it's like a huge wash. But if you can sit there and you can say, well, listen, I don't like Pearsall in this matchup against Seattle. I think that they're going to end up, clamping down on him. Then maybe you fade him, but maybe you use Egbuka. So, you kind of have to dive in that sense and figure, okay, these are the popular guys right now. Everybody who's in my fantasy tourism articles,
right?
Whether it's in the Post or our friends over at RT Sports with the Weekly Bender, whatever it is, like those guys are probably going to be good cash game plays because everybody's going to be in on it. But when you're talking GPP tournaments, what you need to, kind of figure out, and a lot of people just go right to game totals. And these are the 3 games with the highest point totals expected. right? And then they just kind of flood that, like Cincinnati, Cleveland this week, Coop.
Yeah, it's going to be
Everybody
loaded.
in on Cincinnati, Cleveland. Everybody.
Right. Yeah, and so you really got to play the game that we like to play: good chalk, bad chalk, right? Because
Yes.
we know what the chalk's going to be. Is this good chalk where you kind of have to have it because it's a must play? Every once in a while you get a guy gets traded or somebody gets hurt in August, and all of a sudden there's an option that's $4,000 and he's a slam dunk. Or is it the bad chalk where everybody's going to have it? And in these GPPs, if you're not in the top 10%, 20% of teams, depending on which one you play, then you're done. And all the teams that are playing that hype play are just going to get swept under the rug. So you got to be real careful with that. So why don't we dig into some names here? Obviously, we're not going to give away everything that's in there, but we couldn't possibly give away all the content that we have for DFS because we have the watch list. We have all the individual articles. I go in, like for my tight end article, I just focus on tight ends to make sure you're getting undivided attention on my position. Colby does the wide receivers. John does the quarterbacks. Joe Galena does the running backs. So you get undivided attention. And I go in and I go, okay, here's two guys to spend up on. Here's two guys in the mid range. Here's two guys at value plays. There might also be a super special dart throw at the very bottom of my article. You might be able to guess who that is. And then there's guys that I'm fading. So you're going to get everything in there. Today, we're just going to give you a little first impression, top-down view. And why don't we start at quarterback, Bender? So for you, if you're going to spend all the way up at QB and just drop the money, and we all know who the top guys are, who are you going to go? Who are you going for? Who are you going to drop the dime on?
I mean, Joe Burrow is an easy play. Him and Jaden Daniels, I think, are the top two that I like. I mean, listen, one of the interesting things is you've got Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson going up against each other, and I get it. It's like a 50.5 over under point total, but one of the things that we've obviously seen in week one is that everybody's betting overs because they're all amped up and they're all excited, but we see a lot of unders. And one of the shows I was on for VSiN, Vegas Sports and Information Network, one of the guys was doing like all of this work on quarterbacks who don't really play in the preseason very much and what kind of start they have. Right. So he was talking about Dak Prescott versus Jalen Hurts. He was talking about Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. And I love having, Lamar Jackson or Josh Daniels in my lineup, but why not take a little bit more of a layup here, right? And take Jaden Daniels or Joe Burrow. Both games have high point totals. Both opponents are not strong. And so I think that's kind of, where I'm leading. I mean, keep in mind, people, I love playing cash games. I think playing cash games is the easiest way to build your bankroll. All right. You're playing 50-50s, right? Not even like double ups or triple ups, because those actually don't pay out half the field. A cash game pays out half the field. That's all you have to do is beat half the field. You don't have to be first. First place gets the exact, in a 100-person contest, first place and 49th place get the exact same money. Right. So it doesn't matter. So all you're looking to do is beat the field, half the field, and that cashes. And that's how you build up your bankroll. Is it glamorous? Is it sexy? No, not by any means, right? There's no, $100,000, pot. There's no $1 million prize at the end of that rainbow. But, think about that. You're competing against 100 people. You need to beat 50 in order to basically double your money. Or you could throw some darts at $20 a pop against, 350,000 other people.
Right.
Who are, using lineup trains and lineup generators and lineup optimizers and stuff like that. People who are maxing out entries, right? They're like, okay, 150. My algorithm spits out.
Yeah.
So cash games, that's where I definitely like to focus the most on.
You got to decide who you're going to be, right? Like,
yeah.
And again, when I go to the casino, I do it all, but there's people that go to the casino and all they do is spin the wheel or pull the lever and they're probably going to lose, but they're trying to hit big, right? Or buy a scratch ticket, like a $20 scratch ticket. You're probably going to lose, but you can win big. That's what your big GPP contests are. The cash games, those are the people that go in and they sit down and they play poker for a long time, or they sit down and they play blackjack and they have a strategy and they have a formula. Like that's playing the cash game. So if you're going to take it seriously and take this seriously, you probably should be playing some cash games, even if every once in a while you like to spin the wheel, because I like to do it all. I like to play the GPPs too. So folks, keep that in mind when you're making your lines. Also keep in mind when you're deciding between Joe Burrow and Jaden Daniels, it becomes pretty simple. Like if you plan on playing Jamar Chase or T Higgins, or you can afford them, go with Joe Burrow, because Joe Burrow is not going to score those points, the big points, without those guys doing something. With Jaden Daniels, you can stack him with Terry McLaurin, but you can also play him naked if you want. Like he's a mobile QB. He can score the points without having. You can score a bunch of points without throwing a touchdown pass, right? Or you can throw it to whoever, and it doesn't matter. So keep that in mind in that range, like when you're building out your lineup. In the chat here, Jerry asked about Trevor Lawrence. Bender, what do you think about Trevor this week?
I actually really like Trevor Lawrence this week. I think, Carolina, not really, a great secondary. JC Horn's been banged up this entire time, in the offseason. And then you look at on the other side, was it Mike Jackson? Right? Is that the other? I think that's the other cornerback for them. So yeah, listen again. I've got Trevor Lawrence in the watch list specifically, and I said it's not just about Carolina, because we all knew that last year all you did was run on Carolina. That's all you did, right? And you look at I'm sure Bucky Irving is going to have not Bucky Irving, Tank Bigsby and Travis Etienne are going to have some decent ownership there. But when you look at Trevor Lawrence throwing the ball against a weak secondary, knowing that Liam Cohen is the quarterback whisperer, I look at Trevor Lawrence and I say Trevor Lawrence to me is a GPP play, because we're still kind of feeling it out to see what this offense looks like with Liam Cohen. You got a couple of peaks during the preseason, but not enough to like really base anything off of. So I love the upside for Trevor Lawrence. I'll throw him into, GPP tournaments. Absolutely, because I think there is an incredibly high ceiling with Brian Thomas and Travis Hunter and Brenton Strange and De'Ami Brown. But I'm not gonna lock him into my cash game lineups. My cash game lineups, I always want to take like a really strong QB.
Yeah, fully with you. Jack Strong wants to know about Jacksonville as a survivor pick. They're viable, but I mean, again, it is a first time head coach here, division game. I've settled on the Broncos at home against rookie quarterback.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at as well.
If I lose there, then I can deal with it. Just like last year, I lost one because I picked the Bengals against the Patriots week 1. I could live with that. It's like, it's a bad beat. So I don't know. If I lose a division game, first time coach game, then I'd feel like maybe I got a little too cute. Before we leave the quarterback position, can you throw the people? They all want it. They want the cheapie. What if you're gonna? Can you give them one cheapo QB that you're willing to throw darts?
Well, I mean, you gotta look at Joe Flacco, right? Yeah, I mean, how do you not look at Joe Flacco against this Bengals defense? Bengals spent a buttload of money on two things. One was their pass rush. Two was their wide receiver, right? They threw a ton of money over at T. Higgins. They've got Shamar Stewart, and they gave Trey Hendrickson like $30 million a year. They didn't fix that secondary. They did not fix that secondary at all. So if Joe Flacco is going to sling the rock 40 to 45 times in a game for $4,900 on DraftKings, I mean, why wouldn't you, right? I said Cedric Tillman last year had a 3-game stretch where he averaged 85 yards and a touchdown with Joe Flacco right before their bye week. So, Flacco's going to end up doing, throwing the ball a ton there. So, I mean,
right.
I doubt I will use Joe Flacco in a cash game,
No.
But I might.
Oh,
I mean, might.
Here's the thing.
Only because that'll enable me to get like Jamar Chase in there, and I'll probably be able to get, like a couple of other high-end guys. I'll be able to get a Brian Thomas in there as well if I'm paying all the way down for Flacco. and then I have to obviously, look for other positions and stuff.
Right.
So again, because Flacco's ownership is going to be through the roof.
Yeah,
So
true.
if you're going to throw him in his cash, go ahead.
He's the second cheapest quarterback. I mean, he's the second cheapest starting quarterback, and the only cheaper quarterback, Spencer Rattler, is only $100 less. So there's really no reason to use Rattler, and there's kind of no reason to use anybody else in that range, because they're all wild cards. Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson. Might as well just go with the cheap one. We're going to go against a bad defense that's willing to play hucky-chucky football. So love that pick there. On the running back front, let's start at the top. Big dogs that you're willing to pay up for. I mean, there's a crazy number of options here because at the beginning of the season, all the running backs are healthy. So you can pick Bijan, Gibbs, whoever you want. Where you living at the top?
You could throw down, any one of these guys. Christian McCaffrey, obviously going up against Seattle.
Yeah.
If you look at what Seattle did as far as their defense goes, I cite this in the watch list. You've got Leonard Williams, you got DeMarcus Lawrence. They're not the fastest of guys. Leonard Williams is good at getting into the backfield, right, off of the defensive line. DeMarcus Lawrence definitely focuses more on a pass rush situation, and he just doesn't have the speed to catch McCaffrey running on the outside there. So that the 49ers are going to lean heavily on McCaffrey. He's got fresh legs. He's had a fine preseason. There hasn't been any kind of injury news or anything like that to worry about. So, obviously McCaffrey, and I think he's like the third or fourth most expensive running back. He's not even the go-to guy on site. So I would definitely give a look at McCaffrey. And I love Jonathan Taylor. I love Jonathan Taylor.
Goodness.
And what's funny is because Jonathan Taylor is not like a huge pass catching running back, right? They price him down on DraftKings. He's only $6,800 on DraftKings, but meanwhile, he's like the most expensive. He's more expensive than McCaffrey over on FanDuel. He's $8,300 over there on FanDuel. So when you look at like Jonathan Taylor, you look at the Colts and you look at this matchup against Miami, you want to keep the pressure off of Daniel Jones as much as possible. So you're going to probably go in there with a run heavy scheme to just kind of set the tone there. And that's going to be Jonathan Taylor. And I'll use him over on DraftKings. I don't care if he doesn't catch passes. That's like telling me I'm not going to use Derrick Henry on DraftKings because he doesn't catch passes.
Right. Yeah. And his week one, he actually has the highest odds per the sports book over there at DraftKings of scoring a touchdown week one. It's like minus 120 or something like that. Like his anytime touchdown bet is the top one. His rushing number is set at like 80. Like I don't see why he wouldn't smash against the Dolphins. And also that's one of those games that has a 47.5 point over under. So they're kind of predicting no defense in that. I think that sounds pretty good. So I have a lineup already with CMC and Jonathan Taylor both in it. If we're looking down mid-range, I know a couple guys that you drafted earlier in your drafters draft. If anyone missed that at the start of the show, was up on Chuba. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'll use Chuba and I'll use Kenneth Walker. I'll use them both. I'm just a believer in the in the system. I'm a believer in the workload that they're going to get. Again, Kenneth Walker was out for a while, but Kenneth Walker's been back at practice and nobody said anything over the last, I don't know, week and a half now? Like it went from like, oh, Zach Charbonnet is going to be taking all this work away from him and everything like that. And then all of a sudden it was like Walker returned to practice and then everything's been silent on the Charbonnet front. Silent.
Right.
So
I'm with you on that, man. So I'm going with those guys. There are a couple cash plays. Again, there's one that's really interesting. I wanted to get your take on. So all offseason, I've been tracking the usage for the Steelers running backs. And it surprised me that basically what they've been doing this offseason is they've been using Jaylen Warren the way they used Najee Harris last year. He didn't play any of the third down snaps in the preseason. He basically just played Najee Harris's role as a starter. And they actually had Kenneth Gainwell as the pass down back. And then Caleb Johnson's been kind of the third guy. I look at Jaylen Warren this week and his price and the possibility that he's just going to be the full-time starting back for the Steelers. And I feel like it would be tough for him not to return value at his price of $5,200. not the sexiest play, but maybe cash game play.
Yeah, I mean, again, you just have to just check the ownership. But yeah, I mean, again, I mean that's what you're looking
I
for.
don't think a lot of people are gonna be starting buying Jalen Warren. I think that he's just one of
No,
those names
probably
that's
not.
not very
Probably
shiny.
not. But again, when the Jets, I saw something about Elijah Vera Tucker, which I needed to kind of check in on a little bit there. Again, one of my hangups about using a guy like Jalen Warren. Number one, the Jets' run defense has been
Pretty good.
solid, right? I mean, you've got guys like Quinn Williams on the line, and and then of course it's Aaron Rodgers against the Jets. And is Aaron Rodgers just going to hand the ball off in this game, in this revenge game
Mm.
against the Jets, and show the Jets that he can be Mr. Team Player, and he's going to run the football like Tomlin wants? Or is Aaron Rodgers going to kind of take a little something for himself?
Yeah, he probably is. He is historically been the guy that calls his own name at the 1 yard line more than any other quarterback. So okay, yeah, it feels like a good week to pay up for me at running back. Are you going with any of the hype plays, the kind of the good chalk, bad chalk question, the names that have been steamed up a bit, guys like obviously Bill Krosky Merritt, also Chris Rodriguez, Ollie Gordon. A lot of people have been grabbing him. Tank Bigsby is a name that we've been in on, but now he's getting everybody's kind of in on him. Guys like them. Let me see if is there anything else there. I mean, those are kind of the names that have been
Well,
moving
yeah,
around.
I'm looking at our ownership projections right now, and we're already looking at like a 20% ownership on Egbuka,
Yeah.
right? We're already looking at,
What's
you
Bill
know,
at? Bill Krosky Merritt,
I'm looking for him
$4,000.
right now. 10% ownership on Pearsall. Not crazy high there. Let me find running backs here and see. The funny thing is that Krosky Merritt might turn out to be a lousy play. Only 5% ownership projected here,
Interesting.
because I might turn around and drop Krosky Merritt into a GPP tournament now, just for the fact that it's going to save me a boatload of salary.
Right.
And the whole depth chart thing: Austin Eckler, Jeremy McNichols, Chris Rodriguez, and then Krosky Merritt. Like that's what the whole thing says. Now, we know that there's always gamesmanship by the coaching staff. We know that, right? I mean, Kyle Shanahan like basically told all the beat writers one year not to write about a particular player,
Yeah.
so that he could use them as a secret weapon. And all the beat writers were like, okay, no problem. And so nobody knew who JaMychal Hasty was until he rushed for like 85 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Right.
It was crazy.
Yeah.
So, looking at the ownership projection here of Krosky Merritt sitting at 5% at 4,000 on DraftKings, that might intrigue me a little bit, just for the fact that I know everybody is like jumping shit. It's like rats on a sinking ship, right? They're out of here. So I might look at that.
Bare minimum price for him, McNichols, and Rodriguez. So it's like one of those things where if the ownership's not going to be high, then it's worth the stab, because we don't know who's going to start over there. A couple quick questions in the chat before we jump over to wide receiver. Again, tomorrow we're doing a full show of questions. We're going to promote it, make sure everyone knows whatever questions you have, lineups, trades, anything. We'll be doing that, but we'll help you guys out a little bit here. Kyle wants to know: double flex Shakir and Coleman, or should I play Jacoby Myers or Ollie Gordon?
Josh Allen, should I double flex Shakir and Coleman, or should I play Jacoby Myers or Ollie Gordon?
I would probably play Jacoby Myers.
Yeah.
We don't know. I mean, Christian Gonzalez might not actually play week 1. This hamstring thing is still ongoing. He is not back yet. So as of right now, the assumption is he's not going to play unless he gets a practice in today. So I think I'd split them up. The question then becomes Shakir or Coleman. Ollie Gordon's getting a little too cute.
I think, I mean, listen, if this is a PPR league, because you didn't say, if this is PPR, I'm using Shakir and Jacoby Myers.
Yeah, that's where I'm at.
If it's standard,
yeah,
I'll use Coleman, and I'll use Ollie Gordon, for crying out loud, right? Like, I think So if you're half point PPR or full point PPR, you definitely don't want to stack. You're not stacking bills. This is, I'll just say this, in season long, stacking sucks.
Yeah.
Don't do it. If you've got multiple players from the same team, you want to do quarterback, wide receiver, quarterback, tight end, great. But when you start looking at quarterback, running back, or running back, wide receiver, or running back, tight end, those guys, those contradict each other. Because if your running back is doing well, then guess what? Nobody's passing the freaking football, right? And so like it goes against each other there. Your quarterback's not passing, they're running the football, or you're running the football and your receivers aren't doing anything. Stacking is not a good list. I get it, right? People in big money tournaments last year stacked, Joe Burrow with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. That's great. That's a big money tournament. If you're talking about your season long, week in, week out, what happens? What happens if a defensive schemer shuts down the Bengals? What happens if like all of a sudden, your team has a bad game? Let's say your quarterback gets hurt in the middle of the game, and then your two receivers that you just stacked, garbage.
Right.
So you can't overinvest in one team for your season-long matchups. It's not good business.
Yeah, and again, that's why we just do best player available. If those guys happen to be the best players, then great, then take them and go that way. But people too many times will reach and set those stacks up, and it really hurts you value-wise. Parlay here, Neighbors over 6.5 receptions, Diggs over 49.5 yards, Odunze over 44.5 receptions. The one that could be problematic is Odunze, just because we don't know what's going on there. I feel pretty good about them, but I would rather just bet those all individually than parlay them, especially with one having a bit of uncertainty tied to it. That's how I feel about it, Saber, but I don't think it's crazy as a parlay.
I don't think it's crazy. I like the Neighbors and the Diggs ones. I'm with you there on Odunze. Is he going to get 5 catches? We don't know. We saw Odunze like really stand out his last year of college. Right, because he was the featured wide receiver in Ryan Grubb's offense. He hasn't been the featured wide receiver. They brought in Luther Burden, or was it Luther Bruden? Is that who you were saying?
Bruden the third.
Luther Bruden.
Right? Son, his father Luther Bruden before him, and his father.
But you've got Luther Burden and DJ Moore and Colston Loveland, and you've got Cole Kmet still lingering on there. Olamide Zacchaeus is still there, so I don't necessarily know if Odunze is gonna get that 4 hit the over on that one there.
Exactly. So all right, folks, just so you know, tomorrow on the show, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern time, we are going to answer every single question in the chat. That's the game plan for this week. Yesterday, we did a little waiver talk. Today, we're talking DFS. And then tomorrow, we're going to answer every single question in the chat. So I know people are asking start sits and things like that, trade questions. We're still waiting on some information before this week. We do that every Thursday. We answer every question. So make sure you guys are popping back in tomorrow. Today, we're going to jump back into the DFS talk here. And at wide receiver, the big pay up. First, the question every week. Jamar Chase, are we doing it? Are we not doing it?
Jamar Chase paying up? Yeah, why not? Come on.
Okay,
well, you got to have Denzel Ward sitting there. I mean, I love Denzel Ward. I think he's a quality guy, but, I'm not gonna.
Okay, so Chase, we're in on Chase. The next group of guys is all kind of clustered together price-wise. Puka Nacua, Nico Collins, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Malik Neighbors. I mean, ton of options to pick from. Brian Thomas Jr. Those guys are all priced in the 7,000 or so range. If you had to pick one of those fellows, who are you leaning on?
I do like Brian Thomas. I think that, again, we're talking about J.C. Horn has been, banged up throughout the preseason. I think that that's definitely worth, taking him out. And, and I think that I like Thomas. I also like Terry McLaurin, who's, a couple $100 cheaper, going up against the Giants. The Giants have good pass rush. Their secondary, though, isn't really, all that spectacular. So I don't mind him missing a lot of the preseason. So Thomas and McLaurin are two guys I'm definitely eyeballing.
Yeah, and Brian Thomas Jr. Is the cheapest of that group, so I'm feeling good there. McLaurin as well. The Smitty, come on, man, you could have answered my question. We're gonna answer every question tomorrow.
What's his
I'm
question?
very susceptible to peer pressure though, so a good come on usually works on me.
What's his
He wants to
question?
know. Drop Shakir for Ollie Gordon. Would you do
Why?
it?
Like
Yeah,
why? I mean, you're talking about. I mean, is it a PPR league?
right.
Because
And we got
Shakir is
to
a decent PPR play.
and we don't know who your other wide receivers are. If Shakir's like your wide receiver 6 or 7 and Ollie Gordon would be your running back 4 or 5 and it balances out your team, then I would do it. You know what I mean? Give yourself a shot at upside. But again, tomorrow we're going to hit on all that stuff and we're going to ask everybody if possible to give us as much information as possible because it makes our lives easier. It makes your life easier. So again, tomorrow we're going to hit on all that stuff. For the mid-range guys, and again, all this stuff is available in the watch list for our members. But can you give us a name that you're confident in from the, or at least you think has some upside from the cheaper than that, like whole BTJ and McLaurin range?
Cheaper than that?
Yeah, so like a second, like your wide receiver 2-3 range,
Like a Ted McMillan?
like a Ted McMillan would be exactly what
Like a
I'm
Ted
looking for. Are
McMillan?
you doing it?
Why
Really?
not? I mean, he's 5,600 on DraftKings. He's only 5,200 on FanDuel. They got rid of Adam Thielen, right? Which that was the security blanket for Bryce Young, which means that he's obviously got something going on here right now with Ted McMillan. So, I said it earlier. I said that one of the things that I loved about Tech McMillan is that he was probably looking at like a 25% target share. And that is not a common thing. There's very, very rarely can you talk about a rookie wide receiver and be like, yo, this dude's getting a 25% target share.
Right.
But Ted McMillan is probably going to get a 25% target share. Look at that receiving core. So him going up against Jacksonville, I'm perfectly fine with that because, again, this is a game that has a 47.5 point over-under. Right? They're expecting some fireworks here because, defenses really, have not been all that, sturdy. So I'd definitely go Ted McMillan.
Right,
Sure.
and you look in that price range, it's like he's cheaper than Jaden Reed playing with a broken foot. He's cheaper than Cooper Kupp. He's cheaper than Debo Samuel. Same price, virtually same price as guys like Jacoby Myers. I mean, that's an easy pick for me in that range. I like that one a lot. As for the cheapo guys, are we going there? Like, I feel like with Agbuka, everything Ted McMillan as well, right? Because they traded away Adam Thielen, they put Jalen Coker on IR, and then with Agbuka, you had the Chris Godwin news where he's not going to play. Now all of a sudden, Jalen McMillan's got the neck issue. Like everything's just kind of working in these rookies' favors all of a sudden, right?
Yeah, I mean, it is. It's definitely working in their favor, and that's one of the reasons why I said check the ownership. You're talking about 20% projected ownership as of today. You're talking about 20% projected ownership on Egbuka. So again, great cash game play. Why wouldn't you use them for a cash game play? I'm definitely using that. But if you want to go, if you even want to look a little dirtier, I said his name earlier. I was going to get some correlation with him. I did it on yesterday's show. I got some correlation going up against the Bengals, and that was Cedric Tillman.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take a look at Cedric Tillman. Like everybody's going to be flocking to Jerry Jeudy. Everybody's going to be flocking to David Njoku. You're talking Cedric Tillman is under 5K on both sites. He's 4,400 on FanDuel. He's 4,700 on DraftKings. If this guy can turn out 4 or 5 catches, get you, against this Cincinnati defense, 50, 60, 70 yards. If he gets into the end zone, I mean, forget it. I mean, if he gets into the end zone, he pays off this salary immediately. Right. So it just depends on how many X's you want, Coop. Do you want 3? Do you want 5? Do you want 7?
It could be. I mean, this is a guy, field stretcher, can rip off big chunk plays. And I'll tell you, this game, you would think that the spread for this game would be like 10. Right? Bengals versus Browns. It's not. It's 5.5. I mean, the implied point total for the Browns suggests they're going to punch back a little bit. Joe Flacco can get the ball in the end zone. So this is not set to be a blowout. We're expecting the Bengals to win, but they're not coming out and saying, hey, you know what? 8-point spread, 9-point spread. Under a touchdown on the spread here. So could definitely be a bit of a shootout. One name I want to mention as a deep play that it kind of intrigues me with the other rookies is there's been a lot of hype for the guy in Tennessee, Elik Ayamanar. And when you go and look at Tyler Lockett's usage this preseason, he played every single snap except one out of the slot. So 18 snaps out of the slot, only one out wide. And the initial depth chart has Calvin Ridley on one side, Elik Ayamanar on the other side, and Tyler Lockett in the slot. So there's a possibility this guy comes out and has a full-time role. He's very cheap on DraftKings. So like if you're paying all the way down, that's a name that where's he priced at? He's like nothing on here.
Oh, he's probably like 32.
3,100. Yeah.
Yeah, 3,100. There you go.
You've been looking at this too long. You gotta dial it back. You gotta go for a walk or something. Unbelievable, dude. Yeah. So Ben just got it. Just over 3,000. I mean, like that's free for a wide receiver. So just like if you built a lineup that's like all studs and you're like, man, I just need anybody that's like dirt cheap. That's a name that interesting, and he might have a role right away. And we don't know what Cam Ward's going to look like. Cam Ward could be out there chucking it. You know what I mean? I mean, the guy's got a cannon for an arm. The knocks on him are that he takes too many risks and plays too much hero ball. I really do not care if the Titans win the game. I don't care if the Titans are terrible. I don't care if they're good. Like I don't care about the Titans. I play fantasy football, and I would love for him to go out there and be Ryan Fitzpatrick or Jameis Winston. That would be great. That sounds great. Jay Cutler, good. You know what I mean? I don't care if he's the franchise quarterback as long as he's throwing the ball 40 times. So that appeals to me. Last one here, tight end spot. Well, you've already mentioned his name 100 times.
Njoku? Yeah. I love him.
Are you paying up for McBride or Bowers? I feel like I don't like the way my lineups look with those guys in there.
I definitely have a hard time spending up too much for the tight end, unless it's like one of those, one of those games where you just know, right? Like when when we're sitting there and we're in like week 5, right? And all of a sudden the DVOA data starts to kind of help us see really which teams suck at covering the tight end, then I'll pay up. But then all of a sudden, I'll for a little while there, I'll still go a little cheaper on the tight ends, and probably just kind of track mid-tier. I mean, I don't necessarily want to, always do it, but again, Njoku is 5,700 on DraftKings. That's probably the highest price that I'll go.
And Flacco got the job. He didn't have the job when the pricing came out. If Flacco was the quarterback when the pricing came out, and they were actually looking at the numbers in 2023 when Njoku was on pace for like a gazillion targets, Njoku last year got 97 targets in 11 games. So to me, it's like it starts with Njoku.
It starts with Njoku, and then it goes to our good friend Evan Engram, who's just a couple $100 cheaper. And that's one of those, like, just kind of, take it for a spin. Tennessee was really good last year against the tight end, but they're a different team right now, and they've made some personnel changes. I look at Engram. I think I have him in as like a GPP tournament play because we still want to see what he looks like as far as that goes. I'll tell you the guy who I really like. The guy who I really like as far as like for cash games is Hunter Henry.
Yeah.
Because I mean, first off, he's 5,000 on DraftKings. He's 3,900 on FanDuel. Or maybe I'm reversing those prices, but either way, he's super cheap. And we know that he's a red zone target for Drake May. We know that not necessarily a security blanket, but we know that he and Drake May have that rapport. And we know that Josh McDaniels loves throwing to the tight end.
He's under 4,000 on DraftKings. Like it's just
it's 3,900 there on DraftKings.
He's my article. He's in my article as well. I mean, that one in that range, it makes me just not even interested in any other tight end that's priced. I just can't. Why would I pay for Mike Gesicki or Dalton Schultz or any of those guys in that range? After Henry, I got to pay down to like Chigakonkwo if I'm going to go down, like all the way down there probably. Because I have no reason to start a Cade Otton or Noah Fant or even really a Ertz or a Tucker Kraft. I think Henry just with the matchup and the price, an easy click there. I've got a couple deep dart throws. I'm not going to share my super deep dart throw. You're going to have to check the article for that. I've got a bare minimum priced player in there for those that like to play that game. But there's a couple guys under 3,000 where things are lining up really nice for him right now. I will give you guys one here. Jatavian Sanders, all of a sudden, he's been getting a lot of steam, right, this offseason. And then they got rid of Adam Thielen. They put Jalen Coker on IR. And Tommy Tremble is potentially tracking to play, but he has not done anything this entire offseason because he had back surgery. So he actually, he just got back this week. So I expect Jatavian Sanders to kind of be leaned on a bit. And the Jacksonville did nothing really in terms of their safeties and the issues they've had there against the tight end. I think Jatavian Sanders at 2,900 is worth it in GPP. I think you can in your cash games you can just find someone who's a little safer and more affordable. But this is a name that has some upside here, and under $3,000, it gives you a lot of flexibility in the rest of your lineup on DraftKings.
Yeah, I could. I mean, listen, for a GPP tournament, everybody is in play. Everybody's in play for a GPP tournament. Build your lineups the way you want to do them. You want to stack, you can stack. You don't want to stack, don't stack. One of the things I always do, I always tend to, because I build my cash game lineups as, with high floor players, right? So it's zero fat, right? High floor, zero fat. I will always take my cash game lineup and throw it into a GPP tournament. I mean, I've taken down GPP tournaments with my cash game lineup, right? And I mean, that's always great to have. But, when you're like sitting there and you're swinging for the fences and stuff like that, I think anybody's in play. If you like Jatavian Sanders and you want to take a shot on him and he's only going to cost you, what'd you say? How much was it? 32, 33?
2,900.
Oh, 2,900. Even better.
Yeah.
Right. But I mean, to do that, because what that is going to enable you to do is get in the bigger names, the better quarterback, the higher end wide receiver, and if Jatavian Sanders comes down with like 3 catches for 40 yards, I mean, that's kind of even money right there. I mean, you're getting points.
Exactly, because the cheapest wide receivers are 3,000. This guy's cheaper than that. Yeah, the cheapest running backs are 4,000. Like, if this guy does anything in that price range, it's house money. If he scores a touchdown, then now you're talking big leverage you're creating. That's the whole plan there. That's why tight end, because like with quarterback, you do got to think about stacks. You do got to think about the prices that you're paying. That's why I like to kind of address tight end last, because I can build my lineup out, and then we've got, again, in my article, 8 different guys at different price points and a bonus dart throw. So if you kind of build your lineup and then come to tight end last, you can just work with tight end and DST and kind of make it all fit. Because like you don't have to have a correlated tight end. It'd be nice if you can do it all, but you don't have to. It's not like I guess if you're paying up for somebody like a Mark Andrews, then maybe you want to go Lamar Jackson. But most of these guys, you don't need to pair them up with their quarterback. You really don't. Njoku with Flacco, though, if you want to go that way, I do support. That I do think is a fun one.
I'd say why not?
Why not?
Why not?
Yeah, and the same thing with all these guys. Theo Johnson, I'm a little worried about Theo Johnson, I will say. So it's kind of a double-edged sword with him. Last year, he lined up in line a ton, blocked on 13.8% of his pass plays, which is not great, Bob. Anything near 15% is nightmare for a tight end, because I mean that's a big chunk of plays that he's basically out. He might as well be off the field if he's blocking on a pass play. And then Malik Neighbors and Wanda Robinson each got 140 targets last year. So where?
I get a Wandale Robinson. Russell Wilson can't see over the line, dude. I don't know how much he's gonna get. Wandale Robinson, teeny little Wandale.
Like to short anyway. Like the issues for Wandale Robinson are issues for Theo Johnson as well. He wants to hold on to the ball and chuck it up to Darius Slayton. That's what he wants to do. So I mean, but down the stretch, Theo did play a little more. Wandale took a little bit of a back seat, but I don't know if I love it. He is athletic.
I think Theo Johnson could be an intriguing red zone target. It's not going to be an every game sort of a thing, but I do think, because if you are Russell Wilson and you're inside, let's say you're inside the 15, right? You're not going to run the football or whatever. If you are going to look to throw, if you are going to go like, routes across the middle or something like that, what's easier to see, a 4'3" Wandell Robinson or a 7'9" Theo Johnson? I might be exaggerating on the heights, but you know what I'm saying.
Right. No, you're right though. He's a big boy. And the thing about Russ though is he just kind of scrambles around and then finds somebody. Same with Lamar Jackson. It's like Lamar Jackson, he makes things happen, and then whoever gets open late gets the touchdown. So but now that I look at it, Theo Johnson's only 3,000. He's cheaper than Mason Taylor, who was mentioned. He's same price as Jatavian Sanders essentially. So yeah, 3,000. Why not? That's a big why not.
It is a big why not. Although, I would rather spend 2,900 on Jatavian Sanders than 3,000 on Theo Johnson.
And that's the problem I run into with a lot of these guys is that, like, if there's a tight end in that range that I like, it just makes all these other guys a lot less appealing to me. So there you go. Well, that's what we're looking at, folks. Make sure, now is the time to pick up your annual Fantasy Alarm subscription because, you get all the content that we've been doing all summer that you can check out in the next couple of days as football comes up. You get all our DFS content all year long. You get all of our content for all of our sports. So if you get it right now, even if you just want to check out the first month, it'll bring you into the beginning of basketball. It'll bring you into the beginning of hockey. It'll get you through with the end of NASCAR and golf and MMA. We got it all. So if you hit that QR code right now, 25% off all of our products, including the annual, right? 25% off that, which is already discounted 40%. So the grand total ends up being like 60%, 65% off what we typically do, what it actually costs. So now probably the best time of any to just become a member. It gives you access to our premium Discord where we answer questions all day long. So, folks like Smitty here, if you're upset that we didn't answer your question today, well, guess what? We're going to answer every single question you guys have tomorrow. But if you can't wait till tomorrow, jump in the Discord. I have my own spot on there. We have guys in there all day long answering questions. So get your annual membership today. Become a member of the Fantasy Alarm family, the FSGA Best Product winner, Football Writer of the Year, Radio Show of the Year, Football Article of the Year, 2024, swept the awards. Join the family now. That's the place to be.
That's what I'm talking about, Andrew Jeffrey. That's what
we're talking about. True. So get on board now. It's the best time to do it. That's it for us. Again, make sure you guys are here tomorrow. Tomorrow is the big one because A, we have football, and B, we're going to answer every single question that's in the chat. Lineups, trades, parlays, favorite thing to add to a grilled cheese sandwich. Whatever question you have, tomorrow it will be answered. Okay. Bacon. That's it for us today, folks. We're going to be out of here. We'll be back talking grilled cheese tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern time. Hope to see you guys there.
Adios, turd nuggets.